was actually beautiful.
Hello and welcome. So last night I finally saw the Snyder Cut. Now I'm sure you're already aware of the troubling production of this film, but if you're not, so back in 2017 Zack Snyder was working on the Justice League, and while he was working on the film some very troubling things happened within his family and he sadly had to leave the production. So from that point Joss Whedon took over on directing and the studio got much more involved, and what was eventually released was not Zack Snyder's vision at all, and was apparently a very mediocre film. I wouldn't know, I never saw it. But after years of campaigning from countless fans, including myself and Zack Snyder himself, the Snyder Cut of this film was finally released on HBO Max. So obviously this film is very long, it's almost 4 hours, and it has a really brilliant 6-act structure that, for one, helps break up the film into more manageable chunks that you can take a break during if you need to, but it's also just a really brilliant storytelling device. Now, what I really like about this much longer runtime is that it gives each of the characters the necessary amount of time that they need and deserve for their proper build-up and story. If you have to introduce this many new characters into a story in just a 2-hour movie, it's probably not going to go very well, but in a 4-hour movie, you can do that very, very well, and this film does that. Speaking of which, the characters and emotion in this film is very strong and very powerful, especially in the much deeper and slower moments. Overall, this film is a very deep and emotionally driven one. It's also very unpredictable, specifically the epilogue. You pretty much couldn't predict anything that happens in there happening, but when it does happen, it's amazing and so awesome. Obviously, the action in this film is really badass, just like any Zack Snyder film. And for what it's worth, I kind of like the black Superman suit, though I normally don't like Superman anyway. Speaking of which, when Superman comes back in this film, I get genuinely excited, which is very hard to get me excited about Superman. This film also shows why I absolutely love Batfleck. He's so badass and Batman-like. My only real complaint about Batfleck in the entire DCU is that he doesn't really get enough time, and I feel like it would have been much better had they shown us a much more classic Batman and then slowly started to show us him being torn down into what he is in this film. One of the first things I noticed about this film is that it is visually stunning. Not only is all of the coloring on point and all of the cinematography is amazing and grand, but I absolutely love the original IMAX 4:3 aspect ratio being used, because in most films you don't really get to see the full frame IMAX. It's always cropped into a 16:9, but here Zack Snyder wants us to see that full frame, and quite frankly, so do I. Overall, I think this film is genuinely art. I absolutely love the messaging of it, and I believe that it can and should be 4 hours long. And the very fact that this film exists is amazing, not only because of all of the issues with the production, but also because it represents a really amazing change in Hollywood that I really hope remains. And that, of course, being studios trying to pull back more and loosen up control over the filmmakers so that the filmmakers can make their proper art. I am so glad that Zack Snyder's vision was finally able to come to life in this film. And the fact that he ended up dedicating this film to his daughter is just beautiful. This film certainly isn't perfect, but it really doesn't need to be. It's clearly the genuine vision of an artist and something that absolutely deserves to have been made. Thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, comment, maybe even subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think of the Snyder Cut, and if you've seen the original cut of Justice League, let me know what you think about that one too. Thank you all again for watching, and have a nice day.
We live in a society where honor is a distant memory. Isn't that right, Batman?